Hey, writers. If we have not yet met, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sarah Gentry. I am a math PhD turned author accelerator certified book coach. And I'm popping in today to tell you all a bit about the Novel Resolution group coaching program that I offer. Novel Resolution is a year-long group coaching program that guides writers through the process of writing or revising a novel in one calendar year. It starts in January every year and wraps up by the end of the year in December. And I created Novel Resolution because I personally happen to love New Year's resolutions. And in 2022, I had set out for a New Year's resolution to learn a very challenging Beethoven sonata. And I felt like it was going to be a little bit of a stretch, even though I have played the piano for 40 years. I still felt like it was going to be a bit of a stretch, but I worked very diligently throughout the entire year. And by the end of the year, I was so proud of what I had accomplished when I did, in fact, learn the entire sonata. And that got my that got my mind rolling about how I might be able to offer a similar service for writers who are setting out to knock out that resolution of writing a novel in a year. And that's how Novel Resolution was born. And in 2023, we opened the doors to our first cohort of 8 writers, and it has grown since then. So another reason why I love the Novel Resolution program is because it offers writers a chance to get involved with a writing community. I realize that not every writer has that available to them, whether it's locally or even it can be difficult to find a good writing community online where you feel like you fit and you belong. And so Novel Resolution, I feel, offers the best of both worlds in offering a strong community component while also giving writers access to a book coach, especially if those writers aren't quite ready yet for the intensity of working with a book coach on a one-to-one basis. So in Novel Resolution, we have so many wonderful things available to you. Starting off, some instruction through video lessons and worksheets that are available to you on demand for the entire year that you're in the program. We have multiple group coaching calls every month, and those are just so rich and amazing because writers get to come and ask personalized questions and get personalized answers specific to their story and what they're writing. And I especially love the group calls because I feel like everyone gets to learn from one another and offer their support to the writers who might need it. So within that too, I mentioned the writing community. We do have an online platform that's hosted through Mighty Networks. So you don't have to belong to one of the big social media platforms in order to belong to the program and to benefit from that network. Every Monday, we set our goals for the week. And then every weekend, we check in and say how we did. And to gamify this a bit, every time we check in, there is a winner every weekend. And that winner gets to have feedback on 5 pages of their writing. And I am the person who goes ahead and provides that feedback. So you get some coaching experience on 5 pages. And then also throughout the year, there are some checkpoints along the way in which you do get some individualized book coaching attention, specifically using a framework that I call the Story Foundation. And so you'll get feedback, written feedback on your Story Foundation, as well as written feedback on an outline that you provide. And then we'll also have an opportunity to have a check-in call during the year in which you get a half-hour of private coaching call with me. And so I've mentioned that it can work for writers, whether they are working on a first draft or revising a novel, and you might be wondering how that is. And the answer to that is simply that if you are doing a really deep revision of your novel, the principles are similar to if you were planning out that novel for the first time. So as we go throughout the year, at the beginning of the year, we really focus on the most critical components of your story, the foundational pieces of your story. And so if you are drafting your novel, what that looks like is brainstorming those ideas and picking the ones that complement each other the best, and you're developing those ideas. If you are revising, then it's a matter of solidifying the weak areas of the foundation that need strengthening before you can really go any further in your revision. And then we tackle structure. So whether that's creating an outline or maybe a simple synopsis, I do want to emphasize that for the pantsers who prefer to just write straight through, that doesn't mean that novel resolution won't work for you, but it will be to your advantage to have at least a little bit of a loose structure around your idea. And for those of you who would be revising, you would really be digging deep into your structure and working on your external plot items and developing that internal character arc and making sure that the cause and effect trajectory throughout the entire plot of the story is really tight. And then we also address scene level writing. So again, if you are writing the first draft, obviously you're writing those scenes for the first time. But if you already have written your novel, then you're working on editing at the scene level after you've already addressed these big picture issues through the foundation and through your structure. So novel resolution is a bit different, even though we do have some online course component to it. It's quite different than just doing a DIY online course. Which those are typically you purchase them and work through them at your own pace. Novel resolution, while you can still work through materials at your own pace, is still a very hands-on group coaching experience. I personally know what every writer is working on, and I provide feedback on the pieces that I've already mentioned, while also answering writers' questions throughout the entire year, whether those are questions brought up on our group coaching calls or questions asked in our online forum. And then I just want to assure you that in novel resolution, you're just not an unknown face in the crowd, that people don't know who you are and what you're working on. Everyone after a while does become familiar with what each writer is working on. And while they might not know the specifics of the story, they know what genre you write, and they know if you had the flu last week. All the challenges that you might be facing. So it's a lovely supportive community along the way. So you're not just some kind of face in the in the online community. You are a writer with a name. We know who you are, what you're working on, and what your goals are. And that's how we're able to offer support to all the writers then throughout the year. And this helps to motivate you to make significant progress on your book over the course of the year. So you might be wondering about guarantees. Quite frankly, there are so few guarantees in the writing world, and I feel that it would be disingenuous of me to offer you things that I cannot guarantee. So while I do provide a framework for drafting or revising your novel in a year, I cannot guarantee that you will actually reach that milestone, because a big part of that is dependent on you and the time and effort you're able to put into your writing. Also, there's no guarantees that this will teach you to write a bestseller, or that you will secure an agent or get a book deal, or any of those things. If you've been in the writing world for any amount of time, you know that publishing is incredibly subjective and often very unpredictable. And there's really just no way for people to make these kind of guarantees. And so I'm not going to make them either. But I can guarantee that I am in there with you, giving you the support that I would give my clients along the way, and that you'll have access to a really vibrant and supportive writing community to help you throughout the calendar year. And so if you have been watching this long, you might now be wondering, but is it really for me? I write fill in the blank. And I'll say that novel resolution is best for novel writers who can commit to working on their writing, I would say for at least 3 hours a week on average. Obviously there might be, peaks and valleys along the way throughout the year when that might not be possible, or you might be writing a lot more than that. But I think it is best for writers who can commit at least 3 hours a week, whether that's time spent in the coaching calls or in the instructional learning, and actually writing. So the videos are actually pretty short. There are many of them, but they're done in bite-sized nuggets because I really want writers to spend the majority of their time in this program working on their book, not just talking about working on their book. So, writers who can spend at least 3 hours a week are best set up to succeed in this program. But as far as everything else goes, it's pretty open to most novel writers, whether you're writing middle grade, young adult, or for the adult market. That's all. We've got writers of all markets in there, and as well with genres. I will say that I do not coach erotica or horror. So if you happen to write in those genres, we would not be a good match, and you would not want to join Novel Resolution because I wouldn't be able to give you the coaching feedback that I could give the other writers. All experience levels are welcome. So whether you have never written a book or if you've written 5 books already and you want to join for the accountability and for the community, we do have writers across various experience levels. And just in general, I would say if you're writing commercial fiction, regardless of the genre, then Novel Resolution would probably be a good fit for what you're writing. It's not a good match for people writing literary fiction or things that are perhaps very introspective, because it does tend to follow more of the commercial expectations for structure and things like that. Also, if your work contains excessive graphic violence, explicit sexual content, a sense of hopelessness. Again, these are just things that I personally don't coach, so I would not be providing feedback on that type of content. So this would probably not be a good fit for you. A few other special cases, if you are writing a novel in verse or a graphic novel, this could be a good fit for you with some stipulations in place. We don't explicitly talk about poetry. There's no poetry instruction or anything like that. So you could use Novel Resolution for the accountability and the coaching and the story structure and foundational elements. But when it comes to like those line level things that poets in particular have to be very careful about, you won't find that kind of instruction in this program. Same for graphic novels. Working at the big picture story level, you'll certainly have support there, but there's no instruction around any illustration or paneling or anything like that. So that aspect would not be in Novel Resolution. Also, if you happen to be writing a memoir or biography, even though those technically aren't novels, there's a possibility Novel Resolution could work for you simply because those kinds of narrative nonfiction formats do mimic a fictional character journey. So it still might work for you, but you would definitely want to ask. We should talk about that and find out if it would be a good fit for you or not. As far as the goal, I know sometimes the goal of writing a book in 1 year seems too slow to some people and too fast for others. And so the program is structured to help you hit that year-long time goal. But if you know that you're someone that's going to need 2 years to write the novel, that's totally fine. We have had writers who have stretched it out and written a novel over a couple of years as opposed to trying to fit it into one. We've also had writers who write more than one book in the year, and that is also totally fine and welcome. But I just want to emphasize that this is a program not designed to put people in competition with one another. Everybody is going to work towards whatever it is the goal that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year. And then Also, if you are writing picture books, early readers, early chapter books, short stories, essays, poetry collections, things of this sort, then Novel Resolution is not at all a good fit for you, and I encourage you to look for support elsewhere. And now the question that everybody is always wondering is, how much does Novel Resolution cost? And Novel Resolution for the 2025 year will cost $1,000 for the year, or 3 monthly payments of $350 each. This is by far my most affordable book coaching program for fiction writers. I have tried to keep this price very accessible so that more writers can take advantage of all there is to offer here. So I hope that clears up any questions that you might have here about Novel Resolution. But if you have more questions that you would like answered, I am certainly happy to address them. Reach out at solutionsforwriters.com and we will see if this program is a good fit for you. So thank you for joining me, writers, and we will catch you next time. Bye.